Hello, this is Fernando Barella, and this is going to be another response to what Putin mentioned with his nuclear weapons. I'm willing to take that bet. I mean, you have leaders that are on your side, like Prigozhin. He went against you for a reason. He didn't do it just because he wanted more than likely to be just president of Russia. You did something to him that he didn't like, and so you know. Apparently, I think this is something easy to understand. Is that you guys got the Russians, Putin? You got a big problem on your hands. You have a lot of your culture has been a lot to do with your political culture has to do. You know that you have major problems in corruption. So how much of that is going to translate into your nuclear arsenal? How many of them are actually really tested and with a high degree of accuracy that they are going to work precisely how they were designed to work? I don't believe that you can stand by that 100%. We don't have that much of a problem with corruption. I mean, I think we have some corruption, but I think it is maybe overpricing. But usually, that money goes to our weapons, and they are kept at their best operational, how they're designed, how reliable they're supposed to be when we need them. And so I don't think that you can compare the West, the greater West, in how ready our weapons are. As for you guys like to, as for the Russians, you like to threat and you like to move into people's nations without actually having the military to back it up, because your culture is surrounded by embezzlement. And so all you really do know how to do is to threaten people and take their stuff without asking, because you don't have the means. I don't believe you have the means to put up a fight. Ukraine is one of the weakest Western countries, and we decided, no, you're not going to have it, and that's just purely how it's going to be. You're not going to have it, and you're getting your ass kicked. You were in Afghanistan for about a decade or so, and within that decade, you've already lost just about as much men as as the Russian forces sent to Afghanistan. And so what made you guys pull back away from Afghanistan was because the money and the personnel that you were getting rid of, and fighting with the same type of people. um you know Anybody from Europe knows how to wage war, and you're getting you have a couple of black eyes. Your military has a couple of black eyes. So what's the next 2 years going to bring if you decide to want to stay there for another 2 years? You know, time is somewhat in your hands right now, but they're not going to be forever. You're going to get to a point that this is going to cost your nation quite a bit, especially in manpower. Eventually, you're going to hit 1 million, and that's going to change things for you. 1 million deaths or casualties. And you got to think about all the other things that are going to happen after that. You're going to, have you heard of shock shelled? Are you guys even preparing to bring your guys back and patch them up and have a productive life with someone, maybe with a girl or something, and have a family, and not have a broken family? You're raising, what you're doing is that you're laying a perfect groundwork for such a situation to occur in that way. If this war ends up lasting another 2 to 3 more years, you're going to have a lot of broken down soldiers, and their causes haven't been for anything that they believe that they're surviving from, because you got a lot of people moving away from the country, so they don't get drafted. And I wouldn't blame them, because this isn't about some other country invading your country. We weren't even going to expand NATO, but now it seems like we're going to have to do that in order for someone like you not to disturb the peace. And if you do disturb the peace, there's going to be hell brought down on you. And so, yeah, I don't believe you as much as you want us to believe you. So yeah, I'm willing to take that bet. I don't think your nuclear forces are up to date and ready to go. And our satellites are going to be watching. And so if we find out that you are making sure everything's going to work, so are we. We're going to do the same thing. You deploy your fishes in the sea, so are we. So, time is a little bit more on your side for now, but it won't be forever. So I just kind of hope that our guys get moving. And this is another thing, and this is another reason why I'm talking here, is for the Pentagon and our policymakers to get ready. We need to get ready. Because apparently you don't listen to reason, Mr. Putin. And we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Fernando Bradley. Oh, and one last thing. I know I already introduced my way out, but I'm sorry I forgot this. We need to find a way to contain China a lot more, because as far the further we go down with this Ukrainian and Israeli confrontation, they know exactly what side that we are on. Now the problem here is that if China really wants to back up Russia 100%, all the way in, I would, I think we need to find a way to let the Chinese leadership, we need to find a way to convince them that that's not going to be a good idea, because they do got a strong military, but they just barely built it unless they're that in a hurry to use it. Also, who are the ones who buy the most consumer? Who's the biggest consumer clients that they have? And I would have to say, I would assume that that would be America. China financial situation and with its citizens, they're not doing as hot as they like to make it seem as good as they are doing. I don't believe that at all. I believe they got quite a bit of a population. I think 1.4 billion people in China alone, or and just some, like about a decade ago or something like that. It kind of has kind of become, in that country, there hasn't been that many millionaires or billionaires. And so now this country's, now China is starting to create some wealth, especially wealthy citizens. And that is primarily because of the United States. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. I think, a lot of the technology that we pioneer, somehow it ends up in China, and so they mass produce that, and so you got a lot of mass production type millionaires. Once we get the hard stuff, once we get past the hard stuff and fund all that we need to know about a technology, somehow it ends up over there when we pretty much perfect it. Now, this ain't on all situations. I'm pretty sure we're working with a lot of nations out there to help advance certain technologies. But, so we need to find a way to convince China not to be all the way in with Russia, because we are the biggest consumer, I believe, the client that they have. There's a lot of people in India, which would help their economy, I guess, if India went strictly with them, but that's almost impossible. But let's just assume. And then I guess you got China, and then I guess you got Russia, and then you got other places that they control. But I still think, America comes up with the pioneering technologies, and we basically lead the world in technology. And so after a nuclear war like this, if there, let's just assume that we would have a nuclear war, to rebuild those the trust between us is going to take some time. It's not gonna happen overnight. And so China needs to really consider whether it's worth it for them to go all in with Russia. Russia, I don't think has, Russia has lost its relevance here in the world, and we must understand this, that, especially if they like to steal people's minerals for their own good, when would be the line, when will we draw the line where this is not acceptable? And so I think that we need to start doing it now. Ukraine is a developed country and has been for a long time, and what is theirs is what is theirs, period. And so, and as Americans, that's why we're on the Ukrainian side, and they're really, interested in having democracy, really stand up type democracy, very dynamic type culture, political culture, just like ours. There's a lot of there's a lot of problems with it, but it's the best system, and I believe in it too. Just that, I think what's happening here in America, you got this group who is abusing, I believe, democracy. You have some of these talk show people who say, America's bad, always talking bad about us, and us wanting to help the Ukrainians and other people from the rest of the world. The thing that we need to understand is that, granted that there's a lot of delay for the Ukrainian military to get assistance from us. We just passed I think it was a $300 million emergency package, but that was thought off beforehand. I guess we kind of, or the political system in America kind of knew that there was going to be a delay, and so they took care of it even that far off, which is good. Good. You need to always have contingency plans, contingency plans, and yeah, I would start talking to the Chinese and start convincing them that it's not going to be good for you if you back the Russians 100%. That we've made up our mind. You're not going to have Ukraine the way you want it, and so if this does turn into a nuclear war, how do you think you're going to benefit from, and like I said, yeah, I was a little nervous about talking about the world new order. Well, it would be something like the United Nations, but maybe this would be called, you can keep it the United Nations, but it could be the United Countries or just the world order or something. I don't know. But, if, say, one country wants to invade another country because one country's doing something wrong, well, we can talk to this. We can talk about a situation, all nations involved, who are all set up, and they can help, keep this from becoming a war. And if they do go to war, and it's a surprise attack, and if it's just not understandable from the majority of us, it can be hit with fines and criminal charges. So that's why I was interested in NATO of acquiring its own kind of military, or a couple of aircraft carriers and submarines of their own, so we can protect more of the of the new world order, especially the Western countries, because I think we've came a long ways in working on our freedom. And there's a lot of people who want to stop working on that freedom because they think that democracy is weak, and some of them try to use it in some way. But as long as there are people who will stand up and say, no, that's wrong, or I think that's what we need to do. I don't think that if you disagree with something, then I think it's a good way to find a way to say, hey, I disagree, but you don't have to be complete assholes, about it. There's a way for it to work, and this is the best situation ever. You know what I mean? I don't want to be king or anything. I just want my stuff. Let me live my life, and that's it. This babysitting stuff sucks. But I think I cleared everything up that I wanted to say. I don't really like making these videos. It's not, but I'm not sure where we stand with us wanting to do the right thing, you know. So that's why I'm just here, kind of helping out however I can. I hope that you can take these suggestions into real light and conversation, you know. But I believe I'm done, you know. Like I said, I think we need to find a way to convince China if that there is a nuclear war, if there is going to be one, that it wouldn't be a good idea for them to show up on the wrong side, you know. And we are the biggest, I think we are the biggest consumer to that country, and we need to find a way to hit them in their economy, destroy their economy if it comes to that situation. But their incentives, we need to clear up that, you know, don't fight with us. We can work together. But Russia doesn't want to. Putin just wants to stay in power. He's the richest man on earth. He doesn't. I don't think he cares much about his citizens. He's not a real king, or a real leader. He just wants to stay in power, and it's a very interesting time because Putin is looking for power, so that way he doesn't go to jail, or I don't know what's going to happen to him, you know. But he wants to stay in power. Donald Trump wanted to be in power again because he really liked it, but he got in trouble. Now his running anymore isn't on his ego anymore. It's about keeping himself out of jail. Well, if he can work with us with the Ukrainian war, well then, you know, we might have something to talk about with him, you know. But if he doesn't, you know, I believe this is a bigger situation, and I believe if we find a way to play this game right, we won't get into a nuclear war, and you know, we have the ability to make many people's lives better after this hell that's going on, and it can even be better for us, I believe, you know. Hopefully it will delay any other wars like China with Taiwan for a while, you know, until we can set up some sort of world organization where that would no longer be viable. But who knows what we're going to have to go through to set something up like this. Whatever we do set up, though, would have to have teeth and be ironclad. So, Fernando Barella, we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.